Hey guys, thanks for watching the MaddArmy, and today we got 10 disturbing facts about Disney. Here we go. Number 1. Is the haunted house really haunted? When we see the haunted house at Disneyland, most people will believe this house is nothing more than a spooky ride that isn't actually haunted. What if I told you this place was haunted for real? The exterior to this creepy attraction is home to many human ashes spread around by park visitors. It has become something like a tradition for people to throw their loved ones' ashes in the happiest place on earth. David Koenig, author of Mouse Tales and Behind the Ears Look at Disneyland, reports one cast member had told him that she had been working with the ride when a group of people requested extra time to say goodbye to a little boy who died and loved the haunted mansion. After she agreed, she noticed one of the guests emptying ashes into the ride, resulting in the ride being shut down temporarily until the ashes were cleaned up. These human ashes that are spread into the ride are vacuumed up each night by the cleaning crew. The occurrence of dead ashes being around the ride is so frequent that there's even a special training for crew members to safely remove the remains. Even the Pirates of the Caribbean ride has also had numerous reports of dead ashes being spread around. But I guess nothing can beat the actual human skull still chilling on the headboard inside the ride. And that leads to number 2. There are real skeletons on the Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland is a popular boat ride attraction that opened back in March 1967, way before the hit movie starring Jack Sparrow will hit the big screens. This boat ride will also be the last edition of Disneyland that Walt Disney would supervise before passing away. The ride features an atmosphere of singing pirates, cannonballs, and skeletons scattered in various places as the rider experiences the life of a pirate. Usually anything involved with Disneyland at that time had to look and feel real, as Walt Disney wanted people to leave the real world behind and become immersed into the setting of the park. Imagineers, people who design attractions for the park, felt it would be more authentic to place real skeletons and human bones on the ride, as the fake skeletons in that generation were too unconvincing. UCLA Medical School would provide skeletons to Disneyland for the attraction, and would end up being placed in the popular positions you see current skeletons in today. Whether it is playing chess, being a dead captain with a sword stuck in the ribcage, or being on top of a mountain of golden coins. Over time, when fake skeletons looked better than something you'd find at the 99-cent store, these real skeletons were finally taken out, but not all of them were. The skull and bones located on the headboard behind a skeleton looking through a magnifying glass is reported as real. It is even more evident as the skeletal remains are darker and aged than the rest of the skeletons on the ride. But could this be because it was there for so long? It is unknown why the skull still remains there. The only thing that is known was that this particular skull was donated by one of the original Imagineers. Just make sure you say hi to the skull next time you pass, or you may be cursed. Another cool fact I would like to throw in is that in today's money, this ride would cost $106 million to create. Wow. Number 3. There are multiple references to Nazis in Disney's past. Disney seems to have a few ties back to Nazis in 3 different cases. In the early 1930s, Leni Riefenstahl made multiple propaganda films promoting Nazis at the request of Adolf Hitler. In 1938, when Riefenstahl would promote her film about the 36 Berlin Games, most filmmakers shunned her. However, Walt Disney invited her to take a tour of his animation studio. In Disneyland, there's a Great Gatsby-inspired mural at the Grand Floridian Resort that appears to have a man and woman conversing, but if you look closely, there's a balcony above them that appears to have a Nazi looking the other way. Why was this there? The artist who was hired to create the mural stated he placed a Nazi there to comment on what was happening in the rest of the world while the Great Gatsbys were whittling away their hours with cocktails. Walt Disney oversaw the production of hundreds of pro-American propaganda and military training films from 1942 to 1945. Instead of being released to the public, they were training films intended for active military personnel. One of the most famous propaganda films made by Disney was in the film Der Führer's Face, where Donald Duck has a nightmare where he is a Nazi in war. He has complications with the ridiculous food rations and life in an artillery factory. These videos were made to degrade the enemy, which at the time were of course the Nazis, and to boost the confidence and morale of military personnel in war. Number 4. There's racism in Disney's past. The original version of Fantasia in 1940 featured two little-known characters, Sunflower and Nautica, who would be cut from future versions of the film because of their offensive resemblance of black servants. The two characters were washed and dressed to white caricatures while being treated like dirt. A year after Fantasia came out, Disney released the movie Dumbo. In the movie, there are 3 crows that teach Dumbo how to fly. These 3 crows, however, have been criticized as being stereotypes of African Americans. The leader of these crows was actually named Jim Crow, which came from the Jim Crow laws, which were state and local laws enforcing racial segregation in the southern United States. You know, the time where blacks were not allowed in certain places. Lastly, Disney's release of Song of the South has been plagued with the allegations of racism so much, Disney pretty much pretends this movie didn't exist. The movie depicts the lives of former slaves in the post-Civil War South. From the film's dialogue to the depiction of its black characters and animations, the film has been looked at as racist. This movie is the only animated film never to be given a US home video release in its full and unedited state. Edited versions exist today that does not include the overtly racist parts of the film. Although the movie was heavily criticized, the man who played Uncle Remus was awarded an honorary Oscar. Although honorary, this was the first Oscar awarded to an African American male. Number 5. The 1941 protest. In 1941, 1,293 of Disney's employees and animators went on strike in 1941 because of their excessive work time and low wages. Not only were they overworked and underpaid, but they received no on-screen credit for work done. The protests went on for 9 weeks before Walt Disney took any actions as persuaded by federal mediators. Number 6. Mary Poppins author hated the movie. P.L. Travers, author of the original book that inspired Disney's on-screen version of Mary Poppins, was not happy with the film version as it had included fantasy elements such as dancing animated penguins and other changes to her story and characters. Travers apparently wept during the premiere of the film in 1964 and opposed Disney until her death in 1996. Number 7. The Scandal and the Rescuers. The Rescuers, first released in 1977, was a story about 2 mice who go on an adventure to rescue, what were they rescuing again? The movie originally came out with a brief scene that caused Disney to recall over 3 million VHS tapes in the year of 1999. For 2 frames, a still photo of a topless woman is seen in the background of the movie in the window frame, which was apparently added in by someone during post-production. The image is impossible to see when watching real time, but if you pause it at the right moment, you may have to cover your children's eyes. Even Disney fully admits this, and if you would like to see it for yourself, make sure to Google it. Number 8. Disney sues a daycare center. In 1989, Disney sued 3 Hollandale, Florida daycare centers because they had painted Disney characters on their walls without obtaining permission. Disney wanted to put their feet down on this issue to prevent other companies from also using them for free. Although this makes sense from a business standpoint, it's just plain cold-hearted. Because of the publicity of this move, Universal Studios stepped in and gave the daycare center rights to use their trademarked characters like Scooby-Doo, Flintstones, and Yogi Bear instead. Number 9. A woman rejected because she is, well, a woman. In 1938, Mary Ford received a letter back after she applied to be an animator at Disney. The letter is signed from Mary Clean and states, "Women do not do any of the creative work in connection with preparing the cartoons for the screen, as that task is performed entirely by young men. For this reason, girls are not considered for the training school. The only work open to women consists of tracing the characters on a clear celluloid sheets with India ink, and then filling in the tracing on the reverse side with paint according to the directions. In order to apply for a position as inker or painter, it is necessary that one appear at the studio bringing samples of pen and ink and watercolor work. It would not be advisable to come to Hollywood with the above specifically in view, as there are really very few openings in comparison with the number of girls who apply. Pretty ironic for the happiest place on earth. Number 10. Disneyland Paris suicides. Disneyland Paris seems like it will be a magical place, but for some reason, it has been home to suicides by multiple employees at the park. In 2010, there were 2 reported suicide attempts. A man that has been identified as Frank L. left a haunting message for his family after committing suicide, which reads, "I don't want to work for Mickey and more." Another man who was a chef at Disneyland Paris also committed suicides with words written on the wall reading, "I don't want to go back to Mickey's house." In November 2013, another employee lit himself on fire, but was saved in time. Is there something going on there that we don't see? This sounds like a good Disney creepypasta to me. Something's evil going on with Mickey. Well, there we have it, folks. There's 10 disturbing facts on Disney. If you really like this countdown, make sure you press that like button. Please comment what you think, and also subscribe, and definitely share. Thank you so much, and this is another edition of MaddArmy.